Welcome to Insight. I'm Wendy Brokaw. Refugees. Some reuniting with family after years of separation, others connecting with fellow refugees in multicultural apartment complexes right here in Salem, where families are thriving. Why is Salem the place where they resettle? And what is it like for them making a new life here? And what makes all the difference in their ability to connect, to get to know their neighbors and neighborhood? Our community is stepping up to help these families thrive. And what makes this commitment so rewarding for all involved? My guest today is Trivina Kassis from Salem for Refugees. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you for having me.
We've just seen some clips which I have to admit were really rather moving. Thank you for letting me use them on the program. They really are powerful.
Yeah.
Before we begin, what is Salem for Refugees?
Wendy, Salem for Refugees is a resettlement agency in Salem. We do way more than resettlement, and we will get into that in a little bit, but we are an agency that has been working in Salem since 2016. And we have a broad range of services that fall under what we call resettlement. I'm the Community Partnerships Coordinator at Salem for Refugees, so I do a lot of our community work, and I have the privilege of connecting with you and our community on the greater scale as well.
Tell us about the founders, Doug and Anya Holcomb.
So Salem for Refugees has been founded by community, by Doug and Anya, by Jenny, by Salem Leadership Foundation and Salem Alliance Church. In 2016, there was a need for refugee resettlement, still is. There's a global refugee crisis happening. Doug and Anya saw that firsthand with their travels, and they decided to lead the initiative of starting Salem for Refugees. Doug and Anya joined meetings with Salem Leadership Foundation and Salem Alliance Church and Jenny on welcoming our new neighbors and what that looks like for Salem specifically. And then that's when Salem for Refugees as an organization was born. It was led through Salem Alliance Church, and then later on in 2016 became its own nonprofit. And then in 2021, we became an affiliate organization to World Relief.
World Relief, what is that?
Yeah, World Relief is a larger scale nonprofit that focuses on refugee resettlement and other services as well. To us, we are an affiliate organization to them. It means we do have our own programs and our own services, but we do have some programs that are linked to World Relief. And all the refugees that are resettled in Salem through Salem for Refugees come through the pipeline of World Relief. So they do most of that caseload.
And this involves the State Department too.
Yes.
How so?
Yes. So World Relief is the organization that connects all of us in a way. Connects the State Department to our local nonprofit, to our executive director. Our executive director is the main point of contact with World Relief and what that looks like to that program of reception and placement that they go through. And when we are talking about that program specifically, it is one of many services that Salem for Refugees provides. And so that's basically the pipeline of how things go is through World Relief and the state. Cases are refined, and then they go through the pipeline of Salem for Refugees, and that's how most refugees land in Salem.
They used to go almost predominantly to Portland, one of the bigger cities, and now less so. What happened?
Yes, so when Salem for Refugees started, we saw that there was a big need for resettlement in Salem, and that's specifically due to the high prices that Portland had been facing. And so what was a solution to say, where can we find housing or services that can be provided at lower costs? And that was in Salem compared to Portland. So today, a lot of refugees are still settled in Portland. There are many resettlement agencies in Portland, but we do have a big resettlement pool in Salem.
How many have you resettled so far?
So far, since 2016, Salem for Refugees has resettled over 1,500 refugees in Salem from countries like Afghanistan, Sudan, Congo, Venezuela, and about 17 other countries as well, more than 17 other countries.
Since you're a nonprofit, you have a mission. What is that?
Our mission is to bring people and resources together to help refugees thrive in Salem. And how we see that vision and mission applied is that we want to see every refugee as a thriving, contributing member of the community here in Salem. That they are loved, that they belong, and that not just resource-wise, but people and community bring that together for them.
Before we get into talking about resettlement and how that works, can you just define for us how you define what is a refugee?
Yeah, a refugee by legal terms is someone who has fled their home country due to persecution of faith, belonging to a political group, belonging to a social group, or conflict, war. So they're leaving their home countries because there's no way of survival or life in that country. And usually a refugee moves into a host country, which is usually a bordering country. So you're fleeing a conflict, you're fleeing war, you're fleeing persecution, you're going to a bordering country, and that is your host country. And in that host country, you register with the UNHCR, and that's when you are a refugee. So you seek asylum and seek refuge in that country, and once that registration happens, then you are a refugee. When that refugee process starts, that's when you go through paperwork to see if you are eligible to be resettled into a third country. Most of the time, life in a host country can be really difficult. Some bordering countries don't speak the same language. They don't have enough infrastructure to hold refugees or individuals from other countries. Education can be hard. Accessing medical care can be hard. And based on these factors and your integration into a host country, you are deemed eligible to be resettled into a third country or not. And so when that process happens, when the UNHCR decides, that's when the resettlement journey begins.
There is a person's story, one of many on your website that people can learn about, their personal stories, involving a woman and her husband and 18-month-old baby surviving bombings to leave where they were and resettle in America. Can you give that as an example?
We do have many examples of such stories, some very heartbreaking, and some have had long journeys. If we are to take that family as an example, but also apply what is a general norm for a refugee resettlement process. So they moved to a different country. It was really hard for them to integrate. It was really hard to find education. So they moved to that host country, and within that process, they were deemed eligible to be resettled. In our case, resettled into the United States. That process between them having a yes to being resettled to actually moving to the U.S. can take between 10 to 20 years. So we're talking about medical checks, background checks, immigration fraud, anything that you can think of they need to go through in terms of paperwork, vaccination, medical records. That takes about 2 to 3 years for it to happen and to be completed. And then after that stage, you just wait. So you're in a long waiting period to see when your case comes up, when you will be moving. And keep in mind, as I just said, living in a host country can be really difficult. And so for you to be eligible to be resettled, it means you are struggling in that country and you are unable to go back to your home country. So you're in that middle ground. You're just waiting for a future somewhere, and you can't go back and you can't go forward. And that's the hardest, for most of our families, that's the hardest part of displacement. Of course, leaving your home and leaving your loved ones, not just physically, but emotionally, and leaving the place that you grew up in, that's hard enough. But being in a place where you cannot think of the future is even harder, because you're just waiting on what that next decision is for your life. Thankfully, that decision comes and your family moves to the U.S. Once they do and resettlement happens, that's when you land in Salem. And Salem for Refugees welcomes you at the airport. We make sure it's a very fun experience, that you feel welcome, you feel like there's a future here, there's a home here, that this is a place where you can grow and your family can grow. The story on our website is just an example. They went through different challenges as well that you can look into. We also have at least 4 other inspiring stories on there that you can listen to. Very different journeys. Every refugee goes through a different journey. Put yourself in their shoes. It's really hard applying the same process to everyone, right? You're fleeing different things. You come from different countries, you speak different languages, you go to different host countries. So every journey is different, but some of these factors are the same. That waiting period, looking for hope, what comes next is still the same.
When they are here in Salem, where do they live? How do you find those homes where they can live?
Yeah, so once a family lands in the airport and they are welcomed by our Welcome Home team, they are taken into what we call temporary housing. And that is one of our departments, is housing support. And temporary housing is usually a sponsor home or a home that one of the individuals in our community who's a landlord or has provided for a short period of time. They usually live in that host home for 2 weeks up to a month, not more than that. That host home has everything you need in terms of essentials, and those are provided by Salem for Refugees. We want families to feel like they're coming into a home that has what they need. Kitchen equipment, pots, pans, cleaning equipment, beds. Some of these families don't speak English. This is a whole new community to them. Imagine landing in a new country and not knowing where to do anything. Imagine moving from one state to another and you're trying to figure out how to furnish your home. So we hope that first step gives them some comfort, some time to regulate, some time to get their paperwork done in that temporary host home. Once they're out of temporary housing, they do move to permanent housing. And that could look like an apartment complex where you can live together with other new neighbors that come from around the world, or from Salem specifically, or from the United States. And then you can live in your own home, whatever fits the family best. Our housing departments tries to look at the family needs, the family size, where they would like to live, schooling, where the best newcomer centers for that family specifically in terms of language or support can look like. So all of these factors play a role on where the family lives, but in our system it goes through temporary housing and then through permanent housing.
Are there deadlines with the work that you do? Things that have to be accomplished in a very short period of time, and you're being watched, obviously?
Yes. Well, the expectation is 90 days. So families have 90 days from the moment they arrive, so 3 months, for them to settle, to find a home, to find a job, to learn English, and to go through a long process of that. For that, that is within the reception and placement program, the expectation is 90 days. However, as you know, we've noticed that 90 days is not enough to find a job or to learn a new language or to find your permanent home.
For anyone.
For anyone, and especially for someone who's been through a lot. You're still regulating what this new life looks like, jumping into everything in the first 3 months that you're here and learning everything, finance, bank accounts, all the little things that come with moving to a new place as well. And so we provide services up to a year and sometimes up to 5 years, depending on the family needs. But we do provide services way beyond the 90 days, which we called extended case management. And that is one of the unique parts of Salem for Refugees and some other resettlement agencies that are able to do that.
Can you just simply apply for an extension saying, we don't have enough time, can we get an extension?
Not necessarily. It's a more complicated process in terms of the money allocated for that period of time, and then the services are expected to happen in that period of time. So we have a system that works well in terms of what happens in the first 90 days, but one of our main distinctives is empowerment. And even with a deadline or not, we hope that families feel empowered enough to make their own decisions and to make their own calls for what they want to do with their medical choices, what they want to do with grocery, what they want to do with transportation. So one little example of that is within that 90 days period, you need to go places. And sometimes our case managers are able to do that. They're able to pick up a family and take you to a medical appointment, but we choose not to do that. And then we have volunteers who are called bus buddies that would help a family learn how to use the bus so they can make their own appointments, they can make their own decisions. And with that empowerment, again, with a deadline or not, you will learn things quicker because you're taught the process rather than someone doing it for you. You know how things go. And so it's get a lot easier for you to transportation. It's a lot easier for you to book your own appointments. Once you do it once, twice, 3 times, you get used to it. So we focus a lot on that empowerment regardless of the period of time as well.
What does it look like to say that a family is truly settled in and thriving?
That is a great question. Thriving to us is very important. You can hear us say it more than once. It is something you can read on our website more than once. But what we mean when we say a family is thriving is that they are able to make their own decisions. They feel in control of their future or where they want to go next, what their career is, what their job is. They feel like they have an income, that this is home. So when we do say a family is thriving, they are empowered to make their own choices. They feel like this is a place where they can find hope, and this is a place where they can find community to grow in.
How is our community stepping up to help?
Our community has been exceptional and amazingly exceptional. Our community has been supporting through volunteers, through financial support, and have been great in welcoming our neighbors to Salem. We're really grateful for such an amazing community in Salem that is able to open their doors and open their hearts to other cultures and to other languages, and to listen and to learn and to grow alongside them.
You have something called community nights. They're monthly. What's that all about?
Well, community nights are nights that happen for specific language groups for refugees. And so there are times where you can build connection with people who speak the same language as you do. We do hold events for the community as a whole where everyone can join, and those happen 4 times a year. But we do also have these community nights to build a comfortable place for people who are still finding their place in this community, are looking for people who speak the same language that they do, that they can share challenges. They've been on the same journey most of the time. They can talk to each other about what's going on in their lives, in their language, in a comfortable setting. So we've chosen to do some of these community nights to provide that space for people to find a friend that has been through the same journey as they have. And that applies to us as well. You know, we find mutuality in our friends, and when you find someone that speaks the same language as you, or likes the same food as you, or plays the same games as you, you usually become friends. And so we're hoping to provide that space to help people connect.
Food is a real icebreaker, isn't it, for
Yes.
building community?
Food totally is an amazing icebreaker. Imagine all the great food that we have in our office as well. Our office in Salem for Refugees actually has more than 50% of our staff have lived refugee or immigrant experience and have lived in different places around the world. So I could tell you firsthand from my experience that food does bring us together and does help us connect a lot better as a community. When we taste each other's food, when we enjoy that time of fellowship together, when we're sharing food and we're sharing ideas on how to make things and how rice can look different in different places and how chicken can look different in different places.
How do you help to facilitate people who are in our community to kind of get to know these neighbors who are so different from them with different lived experience?
Well, we encourage everyone, whether they know that their neighbor is a refugee or not, to get to know their neighbor, to get to know them, ask about their day, ask about their life, regardless of where they come from, share food, understand their culture, understand their family traditions. And so once you start putting yourself out in community, then you will be able to connect and grow mutually, regardless of where that community is coming from. As I mentioned, we do have our 4 events that happen for everyone. We do always value volunteers who are wanting to understand and to listen to more stories. And one big aspect that we do have is our SFR Connects meetings, which are monthly meetings that happen every first Monday of the month. And in those meetings, we talk about Salem for Refugees, we talk about updates, we talk about programs, volunteer opportunities, things that you can do to help out. And we do share many of our new neighbors share their stories, share their needs, what they're looking for. So if you're looking for an opportunity to join us or to understand what Salem for Refugees does more, to ask your questions, to get to know people from around the world, our monthly meetings are a first starting place that would be exceptional for you to start at.
I'm getting the sense that the enrichment is a two-way street here.
Yes. And that is actually another core distinctive of our organization, and that is mutual transformation. We hope that mutual transformation exists in our community in Salem, that it's not a one-way street of receiving, but it's a street of receiving and giving, understanding and mutual respect, mutual humility, and cultural respect and what that looks like. So we do hope that this mutual transformation to our new neighbor families, but also to our community happens, where we learn each other's languages, learn how to say hello. Maybe that's a simple word, but you can definitely learn how to say that in someone else's language, and that could make their day, right? If you show up to someone and you just say hello in their language, it can put a smile on their face that could change their day. And that is mutually transformative. You took the effort to learn something new that transformed you personally, but also you expressed that to your neighbor, and that transformed their day as well. This is just a very simple, practical example that I can give, but mutual transformation goes way deeper than just simple acts of kindness, but actually true, deep transformation.
How can people help? On your website, it's serve. How can I serve? And give us some of the ways that people can become involved and just help out.
We love our community and we love our volunteers. And so no matter how old you are, whether you're 14 or 12, or whether you're retired and have all the time that you want to give to Salem for Refugees, or in between, that you're a university student and you just have a couple hours a day, we love for you to be involved with us. And that could look different in different areas. When we say resource teams, that could involve legal support. So if you're a lawyer or a rep or have been working in the field for a while, we really appreciate your expertise in helping with some of these legal documents. That could look like medical support and going to medical appointments. So these would be some examples of you joining one of our resource teams. If you'd like to be a part of our welcome home team, you would do some airport welcomes and be involved in just making arrivals fun and a new place that they can call home. You can be a part of our team that helps move in families, so you would be setting up temporary homes, but also helping move from temporary homes to permanent homes. So if you have an interest in whether it's decor or setting up homes, or have moved a lot in your life and have experience with that, that is something you might enjoy doing. We have other one-off events that happen, like soccer camp that is currently ongoing, that we love volunteers for, if that is something you would like to be a part of. Other events like our summer barbecue, we look for volunteers to be involved in that. Our community nights are also a place we would like our volunteers to be involved in. So as you see, there's a wide range of things that you could do. It could be a desk job where you're just filling out paperwork if that's something you enjoy, and it could be on the soccer field where you're playing soccer all day, or coaching kids and mending a water station or giving food. So no matter what your interest is, we want you to volunteer with us. We want you to be a part of our team.
And there are also ways you can help with everything from a grocery card to summer backpacks, which is going on. What's that about?
Yes.
All of that.
So we really appreciate some grocery cards that can be sent that can provide temporary relief for some families and give them the power of choice in what they want to buy. And that is something we look for always and is always useful. Our summer backpacks are backpacks that we put together for the summer that kids can use to learn English, to play some activities that they could be fun and exciting, but also educational. So those backpacks are put together and given to kids to use over the summer, since they don't have any school, but also the fun and enriching for them. But every month or every 2 months, we have several things come up. So if you are interested in donations, please sign up to our newsletter, and that can give you an idea on what is the need and what is happening this month.
Give us your website where people can learn so much more about Salem for Refugees.
Yeah, our website is very simple. It's just www.salemforrefugees.org. So salemforrefugees.org, we will come up right on the first line when you Google that. So that is our website. On our website, you can find a lot of information that we just talked about today. You can find the inspiring stories section that truly is very inspiring stories that you can listen to. And you can find a link to sign up to our newsletter, which is updated every month.
Oh, and it's a great newsletter. I look forward to it. It's fun. Thank you so much, Trivina, for giving us an inside look into the lives and the joys and the challenges, but the working together on behalf of helping our new neighbors feel this is home.
Thank you, Wendy. It's an honor to be here with you today and to share with our community what is going on and how they can help and how they can get involved to build that mutual transformation and to further grow our community in Salem.
Well, thank you so much for being my guest today on Insight. This is powerful and very educational listening. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us today on Insight. I'm Wendy Brokaw.